Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is in the news, and everybody is throwing a fit about what Roman Reigns said to a Trenton, New Jersey crowd. Roman Reigns tells WWE fans in New Jersey he may not be back because he's starting a new phase in his life. Last night, at WWE's live event in Trenton, New Jersey, the undisputed World Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns, broke character again, and he had some words for the fans in attendance. Reigns thanked fans and then said he does not know if he will ever be back in Trenton again because he is starting a new phase in his life. Reigns has been hinting for the last couple of years about making a transition into Hollywood. Last November, during an interview on the Michael Kay Show, Reigns said the following: I think there's going to be some moves made pretty soon. There's always these speculations, these contract talks, all that pushing. That's my business. People can deep dive enough. I'm sure they can uncover enough stones to figure out the time frame, but that's something I definitely want to dabble in. I want to gain more experience. I want to use these tools that I've learned. WWE has done so right by me. They've given me so much and placed so many great blessings and opportunities in front of me. I just had to capture them. I just had to grab the ball and run with it. I like to think that along the way, I just picked up so many skills and experienced so many different things that are going to help me, because at the end of the day, we all know how this works. This is a young man's game. You can't fall down your whole life. You have to get to a point where you can transition, where you can connect and create new, fresh, evolved content for your fan base and your supporters. I think I have the ability to do that. At the end of the day, it's about getting into that game, being thrown into that fire, and seeing how you do. I have a pretty good track record with being thrown in the deep end. And if that's what happens in Hollywood, I'm looking to swim. Last month, WWE President Nick Khanman told the Town podcast that the company was helping Reigns to cross over into Hollywood. We think he's certainly up there, and we have big plans with him to help him cross over, which we think will be great for him and certainly great to do with him. Yeah, we think he has that. End quote. This should be a surprise to nobody. This should be a surprise to nobody. Now, I don't know when Roman Reigns' contract is up. It could be this year and up through WrestleMania next year, and then that's it. Because if you really want to really make this as simple as possible and simplify the entire process for everybody, look at Roman Reigns and what they're doing with him now. Look at what they've done with him over the last 650 some odd days. He's held the WWE Universal Championship. He just won the WWE Championship from Brock Lesnar in a match that was fucking subpar at best against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania in the main event, becoming the unified World Heavyweight Champion. Roman Reigns is somebody that WWE's built this entire product around, both Monday and Friday. They've thrown everybody at him. Everybody that the company has at a top level, at a mid-level, at him. At a mid-level because they're so desperate for fucking talent to go up against Reigns so that they may save those bigger matches for bigger events and bigger stadium shows somewhere down the line. Nakamura, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, you name it. They're being thrown at Roman Reigns just because of the simple fact that WWE doesn't have anybody. But at the end of this run, what is there left for Roman Reigns to do? Roman Reigns knows this is it. This is the end. What we're watching is the end of Roman Reigns' career. We're watching the end of Roman Reigns' career with our very eyes in a WWE ring this year. It's not going to be touted as a retirement, but it will be looked at as the final run of his career. There is nothing for this man to do. This is not, oh yeah, he's going to lose the title or lose the titles to Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes, and he's going to wrestle The Rock. No. What is he going to do after all this is over? He's going to go back and chase the fucking championships after we just watched him hold the title for what will be 900 days? Come on, man. This is the end of Roman Reigns' career, full-time, this year. And the match with The Rock is going to be it. That's it. Yeah, Oos, let's go to Hollywood. That's it. WrestleMania next year, if it does happen, which I do suspect it will happen, this is the final run for Roman Reigns. It should come to no surprise, or as a surprise to nobody, anywhere. This is it. Then the question is, and then the discussion will be, let's look back at Roman Reigns' run as world champion. Was it something that WWE fully embraced? No. No, they only embraced it because of Roman Reigns. Why did they do what they did and build up nobody else but Roman Reigns? Now you know why. If Roman Reigns isn't a superhero, if Roman Reigns is not the fucking god of pro wrestling at the end of this run, it's going to make him look a little bit less than in Hollywood. They want him to be the absolute greatest of all time in their eyes, which we know he's not going to be, in their eyes, so that he can transition to Hollywood and be on that level right under the Rock. That's what they're doing this for. They're not doing it to build up the future of WWE. They're not doing it to build up the mid-card and put over somebody else to take his spot, which right now there's nobody. They're doing it for Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns only. But in some sick and twisted way, WWE thinks this is going to benefit them in some way. How is it benefiting WWE that The Rock went on to Hollywood and basically left them in the dust? Roman Reigns is going to do the same thing. All Roman Reigns needs is one fucking phone call for one Marvel movie to have him play a role of a lifetime that he was fucking picture made for. That's it. Goodbye, Roman. Goodbye, Joseph Anoa'i. Goodbye. The tribal chief is gone, and he will come back on a semi-regular basis like John Cena, maybe once a year. And we all know where that's going to lead. Joe Anoa'i is going to be the next big name in Hollywood, and when Roman is ascending the heights, The Rock is going to take a more minuscule role. How many fucking movies is he going to be making? How long can he do the schedule he's running? And who's to say he doesn't run for president of the United States, which has already been fucking teased everywhere, including Young Rock, right? It's already been teased. Roman is going to be the next major star in Hollywood. Bookmark it. That's what WWE wants. All the major Hollywood stars, Rock, Dwayne, came from WWE. John Cena came from WWE. Batista came from WWE. You can add Roman Reigns to that list. But like I said, the discussion is going to be, how is Roman's run looking back at it? To me, it was a fucking failure. More than likely, it will be deemed as a failure, because WWE did not build up anybody in that time frame. Not one single fucking person looks better for feuding with Roman Reigns. Did we get some great matches out of it? Yes. Was it Roman's best run in his entire career? Yes. Was it needed? Yes. Was Roman the best in-ring performer of his entire career then? Yes. But what did it do for the fucking company? What did it do for the company? We'll see what WWE plans to do with it. Because if the WWE is not ending the brand split and we're still going to have two champions, which I assume we still will, Drew McIntyre's already talked about it, we need a world championship on both brands. He may be the one to take one of those titles from Roman Reigns. He may be the one to take down Roman Reigns this year for the Universal Championship. And you know what? I think I'm ready to see it. I don't think Drew McIntyre's the guy. I don't. I think he's great. Do I think he's the guy that's going to lead a brand? No, I don't. I think that ship has sailed. WWE showed you exactly what they think of Drew McIntyre. Just look at the first run he had and the second run he had as world champion on Monday Night Raw. It was very, very lackluster. Do I think he's going to be better off on SmackDown? No. There's nobody on that show unless WWE miraculously changes something via the draft. Roman, in my eyes, will lose that world championship to Drew McIntyre when it is time this year. Roman, on the other hand, he needs to lose that other championship, the WWE Championship, to Cody Rhodes. It needs to be Cody beating Roman. I don't want to see Roman just give up the fucking title. You're going to make the title look like a fucking piece of shit title if you give up the WWE title and we have some fucking makeshift bullshit tournament for the world title. Cody needs to beat somebody to make the story make sense. He doesn't need to beat a fucking jobber in a tournament. That means nothing. I don't want to see that. Roman needs to drop the Universal title to Drew and needs to drop the WWE title to Cody Rhodes. That's what needs to be. He doesn't need the title going into WrestleMania against The Rock, and that's going to be the one match that's going to transcend both guys and move them on to Hollywood together. What we're watching, is the end of Roman Reigns' run. But when I sit here and I talk about Roman Reigns, he's finally a heel. Yes. All the missed opportunities that WWE had to make this guy into a fucking megastar and help the rest of the roster. They didn't even bother to help put anybody else over. It was Roman, and that is it. What a fucking disgrace. What a terrible vision that WWE has. The draft. WWE's even thinking about doing the draft after SummerSlam this year, and we're moving it up. Whereas it's been happening in October. They're thinking about doing it in July. Ringside News previously reported that a draft is internally listed for September. Commenting on this report in the latest edition of the newsletter, Dave Meltzer noted that a source told him that it could take place following SummerSlam. Noting that WWE hadn't decided on a specific date as of this writing, Meltzer says, and I quote, Ringside News reported that WWE is internally, tentatively scheduling the draft for September. A WWE source told us that it could be August, right after SummerSlam, or it could be September. No date was finalized, but the gut feeling was after SummerSlam or in the lead into the Cardiff show, Clash at the Castle, but it's definitely right now set for that time frame. SummerSlam is slated to air on July 30th from Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. WWE's Clash at the Castle will emanate from Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales on September 3rd. Drew McIntyre recently shared his thoughts additionally on the brand split, believing that WWE should have 2 world titles if continuing on with 2 separate brand rosters. WWE could do a couple of different things if they want with this world championship situation. One of them is what I mentioned. Cody Rhodes could win the title from Roman Reigns. That may be a little outside of WWE's comfort zone. WWE could easily do something else. We could see Edge take the WWE title. We could see Randy Orton take the WWE title. We could wait on Cody Rhodes and have Cody Rhodes crowned at WrestleMania next year. Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes would be a marquee match, if anything, at WrestleMania for Cody to win the title against Randy Orton. I'd much rather it be against Roman Reigns. That's the guy. That's going to be the guy. And the family lineage there between both, it tells a story in itself. I don't really want WWE to wait on that because I do think that Cody is the guy to hold that show up on Monday night, and we need somebody like that at the top that the fans are fully invested in, and that would bring the greatest amount of story possible to what I think WWE has been severely lacking when it comes to the world title. They got a bunch of different ways to go about it. McIntyre more than likely is taking that title on SmackDown because there's nobody else. But the question is, I don't really want to get into specifics about how WWE handles this draft. I don't want to talk about it. I could sit here all fucking day and talk about how WWE needs to do a draft and what should be done with the draft and all this other shit. I've talked about it. If you're an OG on the channel, you know exactly what WWE needs to do. But at the end of the day, WWE needs to start investing 100% in Austin Theory. They need to invest in Carmelo Hayes. They need to invest in Braun Breaker. They need to invest in Walter. They need to invest in Tony D'Angelo. They need to invest in this talent that will sooner or later, minus Walter or Gunther, he should be, listen, Drew McIntyre winning the world championship on SmackDown versus Walter, man, it just writes itself. When Drew McIntyre wins that world championship, Walter will be there to challenge Drew McIntyre to win that championship. That writes itself. If you ain't thinking that right now, I don't even know why the fuck you're there. Those guys, Braun Breaker, Tony D'Angelo, Carmelo Hayes, right? All those guys, Solo Sikoa. You're going to need to call these guys up imminently. When Roman Reigns is there and you just feel like he's about 1 foot out the door, WWE needs to make the next big guy. If that's Braun Breaker, so be it. If that's Carmelo Hayes, so be it. It's got to be put into place. If these names are not a part of the fucking draft come July, you are making a terrible fucking mistake. The time is now to invest in the future. Now. Not next year, not next draft, not 2 years from now. Now. It's bad enough we got the fucking networks running roughshod over everything on TV. They canceled the fucking unification match on Sunday's pay-per-view. All because they want brand exclusivity on their roster. Meanwhile, they are actively sabotaging the fucking show. Monday Night Raw sucks because of it, and SmackDown sucks because of it. The entirety of WWE's product sucks because of this fucking draft and this brand split. I wish the brands were not held down by the TV networks. What the fuck do they know? They don't know jack shit. And WWE already doesn't know jack shit. Now we're listening to people. On top of that, we got two fucking groups of people who don't know jack shit. WWE needs to start investing in their future. I'm tired of the fucking Austin throwbacks, nostalgia. I'm tired of the John Cena's coming back, even though I love John Cena. I think he's more valuable now than he's ever been in his entire career. John Cena coming back is always going to be back for the future. When that time comes, I won't even mind him being world champion for one final run and telling that story of chasing number 17. Tired of Goldberg. I'm tired of all these fucking old has-been hacks coming back. It works for one night. It works for one pay-per-view. But Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker and all these people, they need to be given the ball. It is time to start trusting the fucking process. You've done nothing to build the future up with Roman Reigns. And now you're looking at him departing, and there's virtually nobody to take his spot. No one. What the fuck are you going to do about it? Or are we going to have to sit through fucking mediocre television week after week after week with the same fucking matches every week until you're ready to bring the future to television? The future is now. The future is now. Get with the fucking program.